Friday. Hello, hello. Hey, hello, hello. I am running oh so late today, which it almost didn't happen today, which I will talk a little bit about because I am sure we are in the height of the retrograde. You may be feeling it. I know I'm feeling it. I'm here to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Happy Friday, good people. Happy retrograde ass Friday. Happy day before the 250 year, anniversary. I hesitate to call it a celebration because of the United States. I know this is also like, I'm looking for my little, here we go. Glasses cleanup fell on the floor. This is also that week that all the astrology girlies are like, there's so much happening. So every time there tends to be a week like this, it usually means that those of us who are in business, those of us who are in service and contribution, those of us who are amidst the collective, we be feeling it extra. Because it's like, is this just me or is everybody like a little bit extra snappy today? Is everybody just kind of like a little bit extra, on edge? Or why does it feel like I'm at the brink of tears? Well, could be because we've got a lot of astrological movement happening this week, and a lot of it is happening in watery ass, emotional ass Cancer, while we have the sun hanging out here. This also means an opportunity for us to get to feel the feels and to talk about the feels. I'll talk a little bit about that today. The main thing that I'm wanting to check in on before we start is how you doing for real? How you doing for real? Also, hello. For those of you who have no idea who I am, my name is Portia Michelle Oshumare. I am a business strategist. I am an client experience designer. I am one half of the Oshumare Learning Team. I am also head cousin at the Business Cousins Collective, a gathering of folks who want to be doing real good in the world and doing it together. They get on together to a variety of events and things of that nature. I am also now a part of the new community called the Teachers Lounge, which is a new opportunity for folks who want to do real good in the world to be together around their businesses and to be supporting each other in creating businesses that they love and doing it in a way that they love. And I'm very excited that is actually happening at this current moment in time. But before we get too far into any of the things, one, to make sure I can actually see the chat. So when people are asking me things, I can see it. There it is. Two, how you doing for real? We usually check in. I've been forgetting the last couple of weeks, but I'm trying to remember. How you doing for real? In real life, how are you doing? For those of you all who are new here or who have yet to see my face before, you are more than welcome to let us know in the chat if you are on hashtag replay gang or you're watching live. Let us know in the chat how you're doing this week so far, if you would like to. But the most important person that needs to know how you're doing for real is you. And oftentimes, especially kind of getting into this conversation, this is really a bit of the theme of today. Oftentimes we can be in a moment where we are moving so fast and doing so much that we really haven't made the time to stop and actually check in with how we're feeling about what we're doing. And how we are experiencing the life that we are so adamantly running towards creating. So I'm gonna ask you, how you doing for real? How are you doing for real? And then the question I want you to take into the weekend, and honestly over the next 2 weeks, that I would love for you to be in contemplation around, because I'm always leaving us with a little bit of sacred inquiry, and let me actually write that down, the word sacred, to talk about that today. I'm always talking about inviting us in to ask better questions, because I really am a big believer that what they say is true, that the quality of your life is really determined by the quality of the questions that you ask about the experience of living. And so I'm always asking us questions that I hope will activate something, spark something, create in us a chasm or a gap with which we have to grapple, because I really do think that the gold is in the grappling. And if we, go to sleep at the wheel and put our head down and let life happen to us, it becomes really, really difficult to produce a life that you really love living. And so that grappling is a part of it. And so my grapple for you for the next couple of weeks, and for sure into this weekend, is I'm interested, as we are coming into a Mercury retrograde, with what are you revisiting? What is coming up? Naturally, you don't have to do much during a Mercury retrograde, right? The natural irritation that you're feeling, the people who don't ever talk to you that are randomly, in your calendar and how you feel about them, the ex that's texting you and how you feel about that, right? The job on a Mercury retrograde is not to revisit our exes, but it is to revisit how we feel about our exes and how we felt about how we got into that place and why they are an ex and why they may need to stay one. Okay, right? So maybe that person that's texting you and how you feel about them, I'm interested what is coming up for you in this retrograde that is asking you to revisit it. So to give us some context for where we are and kind of coming into the conversation today, I love to use astrological transits as an invitation for us to look at ourselves and the leadership of the way we are leading our lives and leading our businesses. And so the one for today we're talking about is Mercury retrograde. If you've never heard of Mercury retrograde, it is this moment where the planet Mercury seems as if it is moving backwards. It is not moving backwards, but it seems as if it is moving backwards. And usually Mercury being the planet of communication, that means that things get glitchy. You'll notice that when people talk about Mercury retrograde, they often talk about, the fact that the tech is glitching or Instagram is down or the internet stops working or more car accidents tend to happen, right? Because transportation is a type of communication that the planet Mercury also has a pretty interesting hand in. And so for a lot of us that run businesses, Mercury retrograde can be this very like doom and gloom time. It's like, oh God, all my plans that I made, I'm going to have to dot my I's and cross my T's and check the contract 3 or 4 times because we're more likely to miss things and things are more likely to be glitchy. And while all of that is true, and because our world is so technologically enmeshed, and now even more with every other freaking platform coming out with this new AI, Mercury retrograde is hell for the girls running an online business when it comes to, the tech applications and things of that nature. And so oftentimes, we are dealing in the muck and the mire of the fact that we have a very modern world and modern things have a lot of mercurial touch. And so it can feel like they're a little bit like, eh. But then there's also this really wonderful invitation that Mercury retrograde gives, because the idea is that the planet is going backwards. It really invites us to look at all things right? We think about retrograde, right? It's going back. I like to look at this like the Sankofa time of the year. We get about 4 of them every year. We get this opportunity to be like, well, shit's not really working. So let me just stop and reimagine, revisit, reassess, re-nurture, re-care, rewire, revisit, restructure. Colin Bedell, one of my favorite astrologers, talks about the power of re's that comes along with Mercury retrogrades. And so it gives us this opportunity to really take a second and assess where we are, look at what's there, and go back to really think about how we're feeling, experiencing, and really imagining what it is that we're doing. And for those of us that are high impact people that have businesses or that are very impactful to our communities, are steeped in our purpose and our contribution, and we're out in the world actualizing this, leadership is a part of what we do. And reimagining your leadership, revisiting it, checking in to make sure that it's still going the way that you thought you wanted it to go is a fantastic thing to do. And Mercury retrograde is one of the best times ever to do it. And this Mercury retrograde is moving through Cancer, right? Which is a space that's going to be asking us about our feels, our emotions, and how we care for ourselves and care for our families and the people that we feel are like family. Welcome in, Gisette. Good to see you. Right? So with this Mercury retrograde, my real conversation is about revisiting everything in general that's coming up for you. But I want us to look at the lens today of revisiting ritual specifically. And there's a couple of things I want to kind of define in that space to give us a place to kind of play in and look at. So when I say ritual, what I am talking about, what I mean, oh, welcome, I'm glad. What I'm talking about, what I mean when it comes to ritual are things done, actions done with sacredness in a succession. That is really what ritual is, and I'm talking about on the basic level. Now, this, mind you, these are gonna be my definitions. These ain't like the definitions. These are my definitions of how we're talking about ritual. So there are obviously lots more expansive ways to be thinking about it, but when I'm talking about ritual, it is anything that is done with intention, sacredness, and in a succession of actions. So a morning ritual that you make the time every morning to take 30 minutes to maybe walk or journal or pray. That is a ritual, right? Because it's got intention. You've made some very specific actions. You're doing them for a certain result, or you're doing them in general over and over and over again, right? When I say ritual, that's what I mean. Now, when I say action or task, I'm usually talking about, welcome in, Paisha, one-time things that you do, right? So a collection of actions and tasks. Welcome in, Lupo. Good to see you. A collection of actions and tasks are a ritual, can be a ritual if they're done with intention, right? A ritual done on a regular basis can be a routine if done right with intention, right? When I think about a routine, I think about actions or tasks similarly done with intention like a ritual, but done with some sort of frequency over and over and over again. I love, Jacent, that you're here and in this conversation, because my discipline queen is always having a bit of a conversation around motivation and the outcomes are not necessarily the gasoline that's going to fill the tank every single day. The things that you are dedicated to, you can see really in the routines and the rituals and the things that you really spend time dedicating yourself to. And for this conversation, when I ask you to revisit this, I also want you really to be looking from the place of conscious and unconscious, because we have conscious rituals that are done with conscious intention, right? Like your morning rituals, maybe your evening rituals. You may have spiritual rituals that you do, but you also have business rituals, whether you name that or not. Those 5 to 6 things that you need to do for your business on a regular basis that are sacred to the point to where they are the thing that are making your business work, the thing that are keeping your business profitable, the thing that are keeping your clients happy, keeping things running. Those are also rituals, right? And those are more conscious rituals. And then you've got unconscious rituals, right? These are the ones that I also want us to be very aware of here in this retrograde season. What are the things that you are spending time doing on a regular basis that you don't even know that you're doing? And are we sure that those things, your participation in those things, how much time you're spending on those things are actually taking you closer to the outcomes that you want to have in your life, or taking you away from the outcomes that you want to have in your life? Now is a very, very good time to really revisit and look at those ritualistic moments of your day and your week and your month. Now, I'm not necessarily saying this ain't a good time to start a new ritual, because I think if you don't have one and you know you need one, start one. Every day is a great day to start. Mercury retrogrades are not typically the time that people say go start something, but if you need to course correct, any time is the best time to start a course correction. Hear me one, hear me there. I really, though, want you to spend this time revisiting and doing really some inquiry and deep kind of cleaning of the rituals that you are already committing yourself to. I want you to start to name your conscious rituals that are working, that you do on a regular basis, and I want you to recommit to them and why they're working, and maybe tweak them a little bit. If something's a little bit off, maybe something's changed in the last 3 to 6 months and we need to add something here, move something there. And then I want you to do the same thing with your unconscious rituals, right? What's working, what's not working. And in the unconscious space, I really want you all to use this season to break up with things that are not in your best interest. Break up with spending so much time anywhere that you don't feel like is actually generative to you. And I think that what's so interesting about this particular retrograde being so deeply steeped in Cancerian elements, watery, feeling-y elements, Anywhere where you're irritated, I want you to go and look at what was the ritual that was committed to me having this experience. Anywhere where you're feeling dissonance or resistance, it's a really good time to lean in and go, what are the set of actions that led me here? And if I wanted to adjust those actions or systems, what ritual needs to be in place or shifted or changed to make sure that I'm no longer getting this outcome that I am getting? Okay? These are some of the best ways to use Mercury retrograde in the leadership area of your business, to really look at how you're showing up for yourself and how you're showing up for your business. So that same exact energy that you do for yourself personally, I also want you to go and do for your business. And I think that for a lot of us, we need new rituals. I really am sitting here and they're like, I need a new ritual, I need a new prayer. I'm always saying that. And that comes from the Bangsons. They had this really fantastic series that they did actually with UCSD a couple of years ago, and I always watch it on YouTube. There's this particular song that they did with Adrienne Marie Brown, and it is talking about the nature of pregnancy loss and what that looks like. And I believe it was a campaign that was done around abortion legislations, but very, very powerful kind of set of songs. And one of them is called New Ritual. And the song goes, I need a new ritual, I need a new prayer. And I'm always hearing it. Like when I go and look out at people kind of bringing me whatever their, XYZ issue is with their business, or I'm facing some new XYZ issue with my business, in the back of my head, Spirit always plays, we need a new ritual, we need a new prayer. And I think that for a lot of us, our landscape has changed so much in the last 6 to 8 months that the rituals that we've been committed to are actually not aligned with the person that we want to be. And there's so much in the air right now that can allow you to excavate the mindset that you're bringing to what it is that you do. And that may help us to be able to see why we may need some new rituals. There's something so interesting about how oftentimes when I'm talking to people who are up to big service, it's kind of like, and it's funny, Parshall, that you're even here in this conversation as well. Parshall and I will always laugh when we're having conversations about how difficult it is to strategize while you're executing, how much more peace you can get when you do your strategizing for the most part, as far as you can strategize first. And then when you get into execution, all you really need to do is check and adjust the plan that already exists versus having to strategize live while you're executing. And I think that really also helps me to kind of wrap my brain around and speak to that. Usually what will happen is we'll strategize once every 4 or 5 years and then put our routines and rituals in place and kind of set it and forget it like a crock pot and never go back. And all the while we're learning, we're growing, we're expanding, we're changing, we're shifting. And these rituals still look like a person that we no longer are, or for clients we no longer have, or for community that we no longer want to be in community or grow with, right? And oftentimes the rituals and the routines are the last things that change and shift. And they are so incredibly powerful and potent to tell me what the outcomes of your life are going to be, that I think we just need to spend more time revisiting and reimagining them. Really. And if I talk a lot about routine when it comes to business, because I do really believe that financial outcomes, like how much money you make, how many clients you have, are a direct correlation to what your business routines are to go and get that money and get those clients. Full stop. Like when people are like, I'm just not getting enough traction, I'm like, well, tell me where you're spending your time. And that will tell me whether or not that strategically leads to that action or not. Right? Very similar with your personal life, right? Where you spend your time tells me a lot about what you prioritize and what your life is going to look like. And the systems and structure you use to structure the energy and the intention that you put into what you want in your life can really be told in the rituals and the routines that you keep, both conscious and unconscious. So I want us to be looking at our unconscious rituals, identifying them. I want us to be looking at our conscious rituals and saying, do they work? If they don't, is there something that I need to check and adjust? And then I also really want you to be looking at the conditioning with which you're building your rituals in, right? So this actually came from, I was just watching this really good interview with Kaylin Allen and Kev on Stage, aka Kev on Stage. I love me some Kev on Stage. Love Kev on Stage. Love Kaylin Allen. And if you know Kaylin Allen, he comes from the Ellen Show fame. Got like very, very famous for doing like reaction videos. Queer Black creator. And lately has been having a lot of conversations in the press about what it was like to be a young Black queer person and how he navigated his space and what needed to heal and shift and change within him so that he could better integrate and feel better about the success that he was gaining. And one of the things that he identified when he was in this interview on Not My Best Moment podcast with Kev on Stage was that when he was in therapy, one of the things that he identified for himself was that all of his success had been based on vengeance. And I said, ooh, there's a lot of us with that name, particularly queer folks, particularly Black and marginalized folks, particularly femme folks. A lot of us have built our entire life, career, what we said we wanted to do, who we said we wanted to be, based on, you told me I wasn't gonna be shit, and I'ma show you. I'm going to show you how smart I can be. I'm going to show you how successful I can be. I'm going to show you how much impact I can have. I'm going to show you how much money I can make. I'm going to show you how good I am in the world. I'm going to prove my worth to you in my production. You will see and value me because you didn't value me and you told me I was never going to be shit. So in this life, I'm going to be shit and I'm going to show you. And I said, there's a lot of us with that as a story. And one of the things that I love that he mentioned in this interview was that type of reasoning as to why you live your life has a ceiling, and that bubble will burst because eventually vengeance isn't enough to pull forward a life worth living. Living in spite of someone else in and of itself is not enough to be satisfied with one's life and be satisfied with the choice of contribution that one's life is having in this thing, right? Your calling, your mission will not be satisfying if it is only based in showing other people that they did you wrong. A lot of us have that, right? A lot of us have well, my mom and my daddy said that I should do this, and so this is why I do it. A lot of us have I went to school for this, so this is why I do it. A lot of us have well, I paid a bunch of money to somebody to show me to do it this way, and even though it's not working, I'm still doing it because, I mean, that's I paid all this money. I gotta make it worth it. Right? This is what I mean by investigating the bedrock of why you've set up your rituals the way that you have. What was the mindset that you were in, right? That mindset being the bedrock. What is the mindset that created the things that you do in ritual? Welcome in, Naomi. Good to see you, right? What is the mindset that helped you to build this? And is it yours? Do you still want it? Do you still have it? Right? I can give a perfect example, like very small example. Today, I officially transitioned my office hours to Genius Bars. And so I've canceled the rest of my office hours for most of July outside of, for the homies here and there. I have one more in July that's just kind of in that space to help people to be able to transition. And I thought about like my normal Friday ritual. It's like, okay, I get ready for my live in the morning. Maybe we do some content. I take some time to think about what I want to talk about for live. I write some things out, and then after I go live, I go make up all the clips and make sure that they go on all the pages, and then I get ready for my office hour. And I've been doing office hour every single week since February of me getting back. And the intentions when I started office hour was, I don't know where my people are. There's a lot going on in the world. I'm unsure where people are sitting with things. I want to have a hand on my people more frequently so that I can know what's happening. And I want to be in community with them so that I can see the weekly realities of how they are grappling with whatever it is that they are currently grappling with. I want to see the day by day and the play by play so that I can get more of an understanding of where things are. And I want to be more impactful to my community because I know that I cannot have the space on my calendar. Well, the space on my calendar changed. And I started realizing probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was finding myself in coaching conversations over coaching. And I was like, oh, I am hammering a point home that needs time for integration. I am finding myself, almost fighting to a certain extent for people to get something that it's going to take them a couple of months of sitting with to fully be able to wrap their brains around. Oh, the conditions have changed. And now it's probably time for me to remove myself from weekly office hours because I'm no longer effective with my community in the same way. And it no longer makes sense for the schedule that I'm creating for the season that I'm in. That's a really simple example, but it's a perfect way to go. Oh, the bedrock changed. The mindset changed. My needs changed. I got to change my rituals. I got to change my routine. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need something to help to move me through what it is that I'm doing. And this is no longer it, right? If there is something like that for you, I really want you to be with that. I really want you to be with that. I want you to be thinking about it. I want you to be contemplating it. I want you to be reimagining, reinvestigating the why behind your rituals. If your rituals work, are they conscious and unconscious? And what are the conscious ones that are working? And how can we make sure that those are shored up? Right? How do we reimagine them and make sure that they are integrating the new you that you are, the new needs that you have, the new leadership that you've learned, the new things you've learned about yourself and how you're successful? How has that changed who you are, and how has who you are changing over the last 6 months going to affect the rituals that you go to create here in the future? Because I do want to let you know, we're Mercury retrograde from now until like really the end of July. And the shadow period, which is like the week or two before Mercury retrograde and the week or two after, you're kind of like in the Mercury retrograde. Maybe it hasn't quite started yet. For whatever reason, this one started early, so I have a feeling it's going to end late. We're going to be really in Mercury retrograde conversation all of July, and we'll be in Cancer season most of July. So there's so much opportunity to use the potency of what's happening right now. All those extra tears that I said that you were crying, all that extra emotion, use it. It is data. It is information. What is it telling you about what needs to shift and change? And what decisions can you make about that? Because once we cross that threshold, we're getting into the sun season, right? We're coming into Leo season. We move into the end of July, early August. And I know a lot of you all who've been paying attention to astrology will see that all the astrologers are talking about the natural shift that Jupiter makes every year from one sign into another. It went from Cancer into Leo, and now it's moving into Leo. And so as we come into August, for all people who run businesses, what's the word for that? I hope this is an aha. If you didn't already know, anything that happens astrologically around leadership, they talking to you. They like to say that they're talking to politicians and XYZ. I have learned that anytime Chetty says world leaders, no shade, if you lead a business, she's talking to you. And just like we're going to see some very interesting things happen on the world stage with world leadership and what that looks like, you are likely also going to see something in your own life around what leadership looks like. And there's going to be a request for you to express yourself newly. We're going to have a year worth of the mic being really in a lot of people's hands. What is it that you want to say? And when I say the mic is in your hand, I also mean you're being brought to the stage. You're going to be seen likely in more ways than you had planned on being seen, if that has been something that you've been working hard on. Because again, how Jupiter works, Jupiter and Saturn, right? The two daddies of the sky, they like to see you work for it. Then what you work for then ends up getting a little extra luck, getting a little extra blessing. Don't get me wrong. Jupiter will expand everything, good, bad, or indifferent. But the things that are going to work well for you are going to be the things that you're working really hard in and really aligning yourself in. Welcome in, Dr. Danny. Good to see you. So again, to get yourself prepared for this next year, use this retrograde to assess where we are. Use this retrograde to reassess your rituals, reimagine your rituals, consider your bedrock, think about the mindset and who you are now and what rituals you have now, and make sure they make sense. On a very practical arm, make sure that the business you have now has rituals and routines that make it successful. And if you don't, now is a good time to reimagine that. What could it look like? Well, how could I want it to be? And mostly you're going to use your feelings as the guide as to how you want to navigate that. Use the data. Why is it that I'm always irritated when I get ready to send this email to this person? Is there something I need to edit? Is there something I need to change? Is there something that I need to adjust so that for the rest of this year, I can come out swinging? Because the mic is going to be in your hand. The invitation is going to be to get on the stage come here in August. And again, it ain't going to be for everybody, but it's going to be for a lot of y'all. It's going to be for a lot of y'all. And I think that for a lot of us, it has felt like we've been fortifying most of this year, which is why this year feels a little bit more like I've been calling it a slow thaw rather than like spring. It's been like spring. And now it's like summer. Like, so it's like, I'm like, oh shit. Like we were asleep. And now I was like slowly opening one eye, flicking an eyelash all spring long, maybe moving a toe. And now summer's like, put your face on, we're going. And I'm like, oh, whew, we're moved. But I think a lot of that has been because we've been in fortifying season. It's been character building season. It's been who are you and what is this making you? It's been let me kick you in the face and then see what kind of character you build and be kicked in the face. Bam, pow, smack, smack. Like, who are you now? What really matters? What are you gonna do about it? And then the energy will come to be in the doing. But at the moment, right, this is the energy to assess who have you become so far, what are we integrating, and how do the routines wanna actually reflect that, okay? Those are the big things that I want us to be thinking through. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to make sure to say. Oh, when it comes to unconscious rituals, I really want you to be thinking about where your attention is going. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And so these unconscious rituals, I want you to think about how much you're scrolling on your phone, how much you're talking to people who piss you off, how much you find yourself complaining, how often you're sitting in front of your computer doing things that make you really, really busy but aren't very effective, right? Think about where you're putting your energy. A lot of you all are working really hard at things you don't want. You're spending hours and hours doing things that only bring you more of what you don't want and don't bring you closer to what you do. This is the time to really use this work to actually be able to investigate that. Welcome in, MJK Events. Good to see you. Use this time. Use the retrograde for that. And again, remember, you're going to be irritated. Where you are irritated is attempting to give you data about something that you are tolerating and likely a ritual or routine that just needs to be updated because you're not that person no more. It no longer fits. You got on your big brother's shoes and you want your own shoes. Great. Now's a good time for you to get your own shoes and make a decision about that. Use this irritation of the season to help to identify where you want to check and adjust, okay? Where you want to check and adjust. See if there's anything else that I want to make sure to say. That's most of it. Lastly, just to kind of round out the conversation, and I have a feeling we'll be talking more about this in this live series as we continue to go throughout this month and kind of into the next month, is really about adding a different, once we are done investigating and we're looking at the ritual and we're going logistics first, what works, what doesn't work, what actions am I taking, who am I being about it, let's move this, let's add this, let's change this, let's do that part. I want you to also then take a second to look at, how do I make it sacred? What are the things that I can do in my life to make these things that do really work well for me? Once you get a routine that works really well, you get a ritual that you know you want to commit to because it really does help you produce the kind of outcomes that you want to see in your life, whether that's spiritually, mentally, business-wise, health-wise, whatever. How can you make it sacred? How can you make it something that feels as reverent to you as when you connect to the source that created you? Whether that's praying to God, whether that's spending time with the universe, whether that's calling on source or ancestor, whatever you consider the time that you spend connecting to the energy that created you. If it has a sacredness to it, and you felt that sacredness, how can you make the other things that you're doing in the day feel sacred like that, right? And it doesn't have to be anything that's super huge or an overhaul, but I do think that we have gotten too nonchalant about a lot of things, and we could stand to get a little bit more chalant. You could add some chalantness, sprinkle some shalotness on your routines. We could stand to get more sacred. We could stand to look at things with a little bit more reverence. We could stand to look at people with a little bit more reverence. We could absolutely stand to look at the mundane things that we do and bring more sacredness to them, because that is what makes a life of magic. When you can make the mundane sacred, life gets really miraculous, life gets really magical. And particularly, if you can make the mundane business things sacred, life gets much more profitable, life gets much more enjoyable. There's much more satisfaction at the end of the day with the work that you do. And so that is kind of the last invitation in this piece. It's like, once you investigate this ritual and get it good, how do we make it sacred? And I'm sure we'll talk more about, the need in our world for more sacredness and what we're wanting right now. We want depth. We want presence. We want substance. And sacredness is a really beautiful access to that, and really a balm in this kind of like malaise and más o menos that all of us are living in right now. Because we're in survival mode, and because the world is doing icky things that we're just like, best I can do. There's something else available when we choose sacred. Choose sacred. I am committing to these selection of 5 actions because it makes my life work. And I look forward to doing them, and I do them in the same way that I pray. There's a power there. A real fucking power there. So that'll be more of, I'm sure, the conversation of this month as I continue to see apathy take over the girls. What the balm for apathy often is a different kind of sacredness, an absolutely different kind of sacredness and reverence. And I know that we can do it. Okay, my friends. So that is the good word for today. Like I said, you ain't finna see me at office hours because I will not be there today. However, we have launched our Genius Bars, and so you will see me on a variety of Genius Bars, which is also probably why I'm not on so many office hours, because I am all up in said Genius Bars. So next week, on Friday the 10th, from 2 to 3:30, we have our Client Experience Genius Bar. So what a Genius Bar is, shout out to Avery Ford, the inventor to me of a Genius Bar on Zoom. First person I ever saw to do it. I love this concept, and we have taken it and kind of made some interesting pieces with it. What Genius Bars look like is very similar to how you would attend an office hour. The only difference is that they're, the first 15 to 30 minutes is going to be the experts who are in the room getting together and having a conversation about what we want people to be asking us and what we're seeing live, kind of some trends that we're seeing in the market that we want us people to actually be doing some inquiry about, that is featuring each of our expertise. And then each one of the experts will put themselves in a room, and then you get the ability to be able to ask them as many questions as you would like, either about the topic that we talked about for the beginning of the session, or any topic you want. And because we'll have multiple experts on one call, you can jump from breakout room to breakout room and ask questions of 3 or 4 experts around a specific topic. Sometimes 2 or 3, depending on who we have. It could be up to like 5, depending on who we have. There will be at least 2 of us on this Client Experience Genius Bar on Friday, July 10th. Will be from 2 p.m. to 3:30 PST. We will be talking about all things how your clients are experiencing your work. Bring us questions about your offerings. Bring us questions about your products and services. Bring Parshell questions about your assets, your curriculum, your lead magnets, your audio courses, your private podcasts, ways in which you want to create a better experience for your clients. Any questions that you have about it, come on down and have a conversation with us about it. We will be happy to answer your questions. We'll be chatting a little bit about some of the trends that we're seeing and things that we want people to be more excited and be paying more attention to. And then we'll be answering your questions, and we will have 2 to 3 Genius Bars. There'll be no more than 2 Genius Bars every week, but there's about 6 to 8 Genius Bars every month. So that ends up being, again, about 1 or 2 per week, so that we have all of our experts in one place. Because, if you've been in our Business Cousins or Support Squad family, we have a lot of different office hours that are, across many, many different channels. And so sometimes I'd be coming here at the end of the live and be like, I got 7 events. Let me let you know about them. And this way we are going to be having much less events, much more impact, and an easier schedule. You see how I did that there? I'm all about lowering the effort and increasing the impact, because we're busy enough as it is. Are we not? Are we not? I also want to let you know, if you are local to Las Vegas, every single Monday, the folks at Cambridge Recreational Center have opened up their home to us from 3 to 5 p.m. PST every Monday this summer. We are playing pickleball. So if you've been interested in pickleball, we call it pickleball and boogie. If you've been interested in pickleball at all, you maybe have played before, but you don't necessarily play a lot, or you play a lot and you want to play with some cool entrepreneurs and creatives, or you would like to learn how to play. Every single week, Parshell, shout out to you, gives their time to teach people who are beginners how to play pickleball as well. So if you've been interested in learning how to play, come on down. Or I also want to offer, if you have zero interest in playing at all and you just want to yap your flap and chitty chat and listen to a good ass playlist, bring your $2 and come on down to Cambridge Recreation Center. Costs about $2 to get in, and you can hang out with, again, a bunch of real cool entrepreneurs and creatives. We have a good ass time. We have a good little community playlist that's going. So that's going to be every single Monday. So every Monday, I will see you at Cambridge Recreational Center if you are local to Las Vegas or you're coming in for whatever reason. 3 to 5 p.m. PST, Cambridge Rec Center. I also have a new calendar of events for the peoples. So you will see new calendars inside of my link tree, which is in bio. Very, very excited about kind of the new frame of that. I hated Eventbrite, y'all. I was so over Eventbrite. I'm so glad to be on a different platform. We're using Luma. Again, thank you so much, Alicia Powers, for like showing me Luma and seeing all of the things that we can do there. It's also great as you can subscribe to the calendar, and so then you get notifications for the events if you want to go to them or not. So I would suggest subscribing to that Teachers Lounge calendar if you're interested in Genius Bars. I would suggest subscribing to our Community Cousins calendar if you're interested in pickleball and co-works and things of that nature. Subscribe to our Business Cousins calendar, right? We've got additional events there. So we're going to be out and about a lot this summer, and the events are for entrepreneurs, but maybe not necessarily the most business oriented only. And then we've got these Genius Bars and Teachers Lounge events that are all about supporting your business. So we are expanding. There's lots of opportunities to come be a community. I would suggest that you do it. 111 PST, as I say that, this is going to be a very good summer to be amongst people who really enjoy you. And so if we're your people, come be with us, because we sure would love that. All right, my friends, that's the ditty of this week. I will see you all next week as we continue this conversation, kind of moving through the astrology and what invitations it gives for us to lean into and look at. I'm unsure what next week will hold, but I'll see you then. Usually some way through the week, I figure out what I want to talk about and I'll put it out so we can be here and have conversation around it. I so appreciate you for watching. Those of you who are watching live, thank you so much for watching live. It makes such a difference that I'm not talking to a wall. I so appreciate you for joining live. Those who are watching in the replay, thank you so much for spending time with me. Thank you so much for those of you who run a business and you are out here giving your time, effort, and energy to contribute to the kind of world that you want to see with your business. Thank you. Thank you. It's been too many weeks since I told you thank you. If nobody told you thank you today, thank you from me. This is a thank you from your clients. This is a thank you from your community. Just hear it through my voice. I appreciate you. If nobody told you they loved you today, I love you for real. I'm a Libra sun with a Pisces moon. If you don't believe that I could do it, fight me. I love you for real, whether I know you or not. I've got more than enough love to go around. So I want to make sure that you take it if you need a little bit extra today. Have a wonderful weekend, good people. Take excellent care of yourself. Don't run from your feelings. Don't run from your feelings. Don't text your ex. Revisit your routines. Find, deepen, and identify the rituals that matter to you. Okay. Love you, bye. Bloop. Let's go here. YouTube friends. Love you, bye.